I'm actually really happy that we're having this event. The POGIL project started in January of 2003. We didn't even call it the POGIL project then. We actually called it, hey, the NSF actually sent us money. What do we do now? But no, we really started on this journey officially at that time. And the project has really grown tremendously. All of you and many others have really been substantially involved in that process. And we've matured as an organization to the point that we thought we've got great people who are working really hard and doing great things, and we really ought to recognize them for that. Now, we could give an award to essentially everyone that we know, because that's really true about everyone. But the steering committee over the last year or so really talked about this and tried to decide, what is it that we want to acknowledge in our community and really point out and honor in a particular way. And so we thought about this actually for a while. And what we decided was those of us who are on the steering committee and people who've been on the steering committee and people who've already been engaged in the project, say from the beginning or close to the beginning, we're kind of sick of each other, we're old. And what we really want to do is acknowledge the really tremendous work that people who have joined the project more recently have done. And so, those of you who are wondering, not having read about any of the announcements that we sent out about this, or wondering what the heck is this Peach Award, right? It's just we tried to find people who lived in Georgia, which is how you So, Peach is sort of an acronym. Let's see if you can figure out how this works. It's the POGIL Early Achievement CH Award. No, POGIL Early Achievement Award, right? And we're planning to give this award every year to 2 individuals who have really joined the project in the relatively recent past, defined as the last 6 or 7 or 8 years, right? It's an ongoing kind of thing, who have made some what we view as a really significant contribution to the project. This year, since we decided to do this relatively late in what would be an award cycle, the steering committee sort of served as a nominating committee and made a decision about the awardees for this year, which was not easy to do. In the future, we will be having a call for nominations for this award, which we plan to give every year. That information will be coming out, sort of the details of how it's going to work will be coming out soon from the office, and we'll be sending it out to the entire community to do that. So we sort of bestow this on our 2 winners tonight, 2 awardees tonight, as sort of really a recognition of their work in the project. So the way this is going to work is that we're going to have people who know them well, sort of effectively the nominators, give a brief introduction of each of our awardees. And where's Alex? Did you hear that? It's brief, Alex. It's brief, okay. And so Cliff Cussmall will be introducing one of our awardees, and Alex Bouchow will be introducing the other. And I'll leave it to Cliff.
Hi. Hi, Cliff. So I want to just give you a little bit of background on the state of computer science education as context. Every high school in the country has a chemistry course, lots of chemistry teachers. Every high school has math. Not every high school has computer science. And in fact, there was a listing by state of the states with the largest number of AP award or AP exam takers in computer science. And as you would expect, Massachusetts was really high, California was really high. Tennessee is surprisingly high. We can't thank Patrick for that.
Well, you could.
It turns out the state of Tennessee is near the top of the American rankings for computer science because of one teacher. One high school teacher is getting a lot of students, particularly girls, excited about computer science, and that's enough to put that state on the map. Right, so there's a big push, and so I just want to provide that as a little bit of context. So, Tammy and I met, I think in 2011. I had just received this surprise NSF award. The NSF said, we like your idea, we'd like you to take more money and more time and involve more people. And so I was at the big computer science education conference, talking with some people I knew who said, oh, you want to meet this high school teacher in the area, Tammy, she's really interesting, she's amazing. She got interested, we started talking, and just incredible things have happened. And so, Tammy is a high school computer science teacher. She teaches programming, she teaches web development, she teaches robotics, she teaches game development. And in computer science, those are all topics that change every 6 months, right? It's not something you can sort of learn once and teach the same syllabus. It's a huge amount of work just to keep up with that. She's also the coordinator for her district for computer science and business, which seems like an awful lot to take on. But in fact, she's also very involved in the National Computer Science Teachers Association, which does a huge amount of outreach and lobbying and awareness raising to really make people think about the role of computer science. Does that seem like enough for one person? Well, Tammy is also working on a doctoral degree. And I think the best way to sort of sum up her level of energy and intensity is to tell you that she just got back from a week in Ireland as part of her doctoral program to come to the PNM. She said she was home for 2 days to do laundry. From here, she's going to Texas to speak to a statewide association of high school computer science teachers in Texas. And from there, she's going to Kansas City to grade AP computer science exams. So I'm exhausted. Every time I look at Tammy, I guess the last thing I'll say is, like pretty much every relationship I've had in this community, I feel like everything I've done to try to help someone else has paid me back manyfold. The things I've learned about teaching, about working with students, about outreach, about mentoring, I'm incredibly proud to work with Tammy and delighted that she's receiving this award. Congratulations.
Just a few words. Thank you, Cliff. I have to, an award like this is, there was definitely a part of me when I first heard about it that I kind of questioned the early achievement. Like, are we talking about early career? Because, there's all these awards for, early career moves, and I sort of felt like I don't feel like I'm in early career. And even then I thought about it. I've been involved with PO for 5 years. But then I look and say, well, wait a minute. He's been involved for 20? So maybe 5 years does constitute early. And like a lot of things, the Cliff planted a seed when we met at SIGSI, which is the big conference for computer science teachers. He talked about, in a very informal way, we were at lunch, and he was talking about what he saw with his students with using POGIL. And, I'm a career change teacher. I did not go from high school to college to high school again. I had a whole career in tech, and so I sort of have this way, I approach teaching as the, it's like the endless subject. Can I ever actually be a master of this? I can always get better. I can always reach more students. I can always have better outcomes. So, I was very intrigued by what Cliff was talking about that he was seeing with his students with POGIL. So right away, I'm like, also, as all high school teachers are, all K-12 teachers, a shameless borrower, right? Hey, Cliff. So it was great that he was putting together this, repository of computer science activities in POGIL. So, I didn't waste a lot of time learning POGIL. I went to a workshop that Cliff was running, and there I met Dan Libby. Where's Dan? There you are, yeah, I met him. And sort of got to meet some other people in the community. And that's something I want to, say to you guys as sort of the leaders in this community, is that it's the community, right? It's the people and their passion. It's all of you guys and what you bring to it, and everything that we learn every time I go to a workshop or a P&M or anything where I get to connect with other POGIL practitioners. That community is what's so rich. I mean, that's a really important part in. You're very welcoming, to the high school teacher. So I'm just going to ask, how many people here teach high school? All right, yeah. But did you notice that's like a pretty small percentage, right? So of all the rest of you who didn't raise your hand for high school, one of the things I want to thank you is for being welcoming to the high school teachers. It's not always the case. There's a lot of times where college professors are, a little bit less than open, less than welcoming to the high school community. So that's, thank you to all of you for that. So there's a couple things. So Cliff had talked a little bit about things that I am doing and have done. And so I just want to kind of tell you guys some of the places that I have taken my passion for POGIL to other venues, places that maybe you guys aren't there to talk about it. So if nobody else is going to mention it, I'm pretty happy to raise my hand and bring it up. So I'm on the board of the Computer Science Teachers Association, which is an international association of computer science teachers. There's like 26,000 members. It's a membership organization. And as a board member, I do get to have a teeny bit of influence. Like I get to write blog posts whenever I want to, and I get to have articles in our newsletter if I have something I want to say. And I have talked about POGIL a lot with this community because I really believe that computer science, that POGIL is an excellent pedagogy, and I've kind of come around to this. I'll just stop there. It's an excellent pedagogy. I don't think we need to say for a particular subject. Initially I sort of thought of it as being, this is such a great fit for computer science. I'm doing some of the stuff that I do with CSTA, professional development, which tends to be for computer science teachers. So we've had POGIL sessions at the CSTA conference with Helen, right? Helen's helped and Cliff has helped. We've had people come, past members of the community come and do these presentations. To the point now that the last year we were doing our conference scheduling, and one of the people scheduling the conference said, well, where are we going to put the POGIL? Where are we going to put the POGIL session? And it was sort of like, oh, I didn't submit one this year. And they all looked at me like, what do you mean we don't have a POGIL session this year? Okay, I guess that's now an annual thing. So that's good. But I'm also, Cliff said I'm getting my doctorate in educational leadership, specifically for curriculum and instruction. And that puts me in a situation, I have 93 teachers in my cohort. So I actually went to Ireland with 93 people. It was fun. It was a big trip. But all of these people, I talked to my cohort about it. We have discussions, and I am the first one to bring up, hey, have you guys looked at POGIL? You need to be checking out this great pedagogy. And so now, like just some of the people that I've talked to and workshops I've run, and my school district is very, I would call it POGIL friendly. We're using POGIL in science, computer science, math, couple in, some starting things in English, and we're using it all the way down. The lowest grade that's using it regularly is 4th grade. So For those of you who teach upper level college courses, I just thought you might be interested to know that fourth graders love this. Love it. Middle school, I think, it's almost perfect for middle school. It's an excellent fit. And that's led me to think of some other places that maybe some of you might want to consider using POGIL. Maybe some things, if your college campus has a summer camp, and I notice that a lot of college campuses tend to have summer camps. What a great fit. You know, kids go to a summer camp, they are prepared to do something different. They're looking for that experience to be different than what they normally have in the classroom. And then you don't have to worry about the whole, how do I grade this? It's summer camp, but they're learning. So that would be really good. I also, in the professional development that I do, I've really come to realize that, again, I think, as I'm doing them, I'm sort of working around, even when I am doing professional development for teachers, that has nothing to do with POGIL. It might have to do with mandatory reporting of child abuse. But if you do the professional development as a POGIL, it has so much more impact. I mean, everything that we love about POGIL, it doesn't have to be limited to just, the classroom, college classroom, or this subject, or whatever. There's a lot of different places that I think it can be used very effectively. And then there's one other thing I wanted to kind of let you guys know. I will be bringing up POGIL. I will definitely be talking about it in yet another venue. On the 29th of June, I have a meeting with the Secretary of Education, Dr. King. So if you have anything you really think he needs to hear, thank you very much. This
All right, so when the Early Achievement Award was first sort of discussed in the steering committee, the person that came to my mind was Tricia Shepard. And not just because I've worked with her on the physical chemistry projects, but because the speed with which she adopted POGIL methodology and the ability that she had to just bring people into the project, whether they wanted to be in it or not. And she did it at a very early stage, and so that's why I view it as early achievement. So let me explain this, okay? So she attended her first POGIL workshop in 2005, and then in 2007. And then by 2009, she was a facilitator in training at workshops at her institution in Westminster. And by 2010, she was basically the regional coordinator. Okay, so 5 years from not knowing anything about POGIL to being a regional coordinator. And she hosted workshops at Westminster and was Miracosta College and the University of Redlands. And I'm, just in 5 years, I'm pretty sure that if you look at one of Susan Shadle's diagrams that connects all the people in the POGIL project, if you look on the western side, west of the Continental Divide, almost everything's connected to Tricia. And I believe she basically brought the entire state of Utah into the project, right? Okay. So now in 2009, not only was she sort of doing this workshop thing, but she was bugging Rick about revising the physical chemistry materials. And so Rick, always the one to connect people to do work for the project that he doesn't have time to do himself, he introduced Tricia and myself at the ACS meeting in Salt Lake City. Now, when we first met, I had one of those colds that I get for my kids, and this was worse than usual. Those of you who know me, I've always got a cold that my kids give me, and I basically couldn't finish a sentence without coughing. But we still managed to converse and get some things done. So clearly she was either desperate to get a set of activities done or just highly motivated, probably both. But anyway, so we started to collaborate on this book, on the revision of what was known as the Blue Book, quantum mechanics activities. When that was done in 2014, finally. Then we started slowly working on the thermodynamics and kinetics activities. So she's organizing workshops, regional coordinator, and writing a whole bunch of activities, but she's really just not content with that. So she's not content to stay in any one discipline. So she's also got another foot in the computer science world, so she's been working in scientific computing. She's done some work with her colleague at Westminster, or former colleague at Westminster, Helen Hu, to develop pullable materials for those courses. I did mention that she's a former colleague at Westminster because Tricia wasn't content to stay in one place. Yeah, she moved down to Texas, and so now she works at St. Edward's University there, teaching. Now this is primarily serves Hispanic students. So since she's got a whole other set of interesting things to work on, and so, Tricia's just constantly working on different things for the project, but she is continually undaunted by these things. All right, so, last page, I promise. As her collaborator, I can say that she has a keen sense of framework for developing activities and using the learning cycle. This is rivaled only by her strong opinions of what should be in a physical chemistry course, okay? And that sometimes led to heated discussions that I sometimes won, but not always. Working with Tricia is never dull, okay? But I'm always learning new things. I'm always learning new ways of thinking about student learning. I really appreciate that, even though I still need help understanding what Lagrange multipliers are for. I did it, but we're going to be talking a lot tomorrow. Okay, so I've just listed off a number of activities that Tricia's been engaged in, and they've all benefited the POGIL project. So this is an easy reason for me to say why she deserves this Early Achievers Award. It is due to the speed with which she just tore up the place, brought in people, got involved with a lot of different things, and I'm happy to present this award to you, Tricia.
And I also have to just mention quickly that I did live in Georgia for a while, so the Peach Award is very appropriate. I got my PhD from Georgia Tech. So I know that, and I wrote this, Alex and I did not talk, so I'm going to read my little speech I wrote on the plane without any constitutional pen. So, while Alex said a lot of things that why I might be deserving of this award in terms of my POGIL experience, I assumed he would fail to mention other aspects of this award that I fit, namely the label early, which I equate as young. I can't tell you how many times I've been with my POGIL friends and I am the only one that got carded. And Andre, which I don't think he's here, but I'm still going to talk about it a lot. Because we would know if he's here, right? Yeah, I know, we would know if he's here. Andre assured me once that I could be mistaken as an 8-year-old based on the sound of my voice. No filter. But seriously, this truly is an honor to receive this award from those who I respect so much. In order to make sure I give appropriate recognition and thanks to the village that we are, I thought I'd describe all that I've learned along the way through a series of learning cycle illustrations. The first activity I will describe is the impact that POGIL has had on my teaching, of course. You can envision the model as an original published general chemistry and physical chemistry materials that Rick wrote. As any good scientist, I am by nature a questioner. As a teacher, I love to ask questions, which I consider to be the foundation of all of my lectures. I realized, however, that students only write down the answers. As I explored the model, I was excited to discover that lecture notes that my students could study from that had both the questions and their answers. I was hooked, but I didn't have a clue what POGIL meant. I had no understanding of this term until I invented it in my first POGIL workshop and applied the process in my classes. For this, I have Franklin and Marshall College to thank, and a trio of educators, of which only one I know. And and of course the NSF funding for so many years of workshops and training that I feel is one of the driving forces behind the success of all we know as POGIL. My second activity illustrates as all I've learned about scholarship. The model is my second POGIL workshop, titled Advanced Workshop on Classroom Facilitation and Writing Activities. I still remember my first experience of Renee Cole's introduction to the discipline of chemical education and the richness of the jargonese related to assessment and research. I was lost. This is also when I met Marty Perry, who is another facilitator at the workshop. I consider both Renee and Marty to be my official POGIL mentors, and I'm certain that they rated me a C. They introduced and welcomed me into the superior POGIL PChem community. My apologies to any competing affinity groups like CS and math and POGIL. They have been my continued source of encouragement and insight that truly spawned much of the work I did in my concept invention stage of this activity. After exploring what was modeled in the second workshop, I started writing my own activities, and then I presented some ideas at a conference. It meant a lot to me that Dan Libby wanted to talk to me after I presented some of my ideas in one of the POGIL symposiums at ACSVD. This is truly what probably gave me the confidence to approach Rick in the hallway at an ACS meeting, boldly inquiring if he ever was going to revise his PChem materials, which of course implied they needed improvement. His typical humble, gracious response, facilitating the teamwork and collaboration, was to introduce me to Alex and give us his blessing to revise and add to the PChem collection. Alex always used to tease me about caring about my students when writing activities. But I eventually realized that with his persistence, there was value in considering a wider audience. And I eventually came to enjoy thinking about students who might benefit these activities outside my class. This is particularly ironic in view of the conversation that transpired amongst my students when I was teaching my first year quantum class. They discussed at length why anyone would write a PChem text, due to the monumental effort of thought and time that they assumed, which would be rewarded with a miserly compensation, due to undoubtedly the limited audience. Despite this fact, I've continued to enjoy the process of writing and revision based on the feedback I have received from so many who seem to prefer me spending my time writing activities while they pursue other important endeavors, like Renee and Marty, in addition to my other POGIL friends, PChem friends, like Sally Honeycutt, Rob Whitnell, Craig T, Melissa Reeves, and of course, my sincere thanks and gratitude to Alex, my writing partner, who so graciously puts up with me and all my demands, requirements, arguments, and unfiltered insistence of some of my opinions with more passion than data to justify. He is very patient and kind and willingly executes all of my many requests and tasks that I would never complete myself. And then finally, my last activity is on mentoring and leadership. The model is the first POGIL workshop that was in the Southwest region at Westminster College. At this time, you could basically count on one hand the number of POGILers in the region. I learned at this POGIL national meeting I attended that it was unknown whether the region or the district, aside from the thriving Northwest, was going to be considered invited into existence. But I was asked if I would be willing to host, and therefore and then invited to shadow the likes of Andre and Beth Mancini, in addition to Marty, at this first workshop. And I was excited to take charge of advocating and spreading the word of innovative teaching technique. During this concept invention phase, many of my colleagues at Westminster were interested in trying out POGIL and general chemistry and using activities that I've written. This was also the time that my computer science colleague and dear friend Helen Hu finally went to a POGIL workshop and finally got what I've been telling her for many years. Helen is my computer science equivalent of Alex. We've written and rewritten and rewritten oodles of POGIL activities and papers describing our work together. And so it's so exciting that she finally is here at her first B&M. In the application phase of this model, I've also, the Southwest became a region, and I was able to team up with some of my other favorite people in the room, Tim Herzog and Matt Horner. Although I have been told I am now in the although I've now been told I'm in the South Central region, we are all clearly in denial, and I will be in Santa Clara in a few weeks facilitating. It was also from a POGIL person that I discovered I might have interest pursuing a chair job at an HSI where I actually hired a faculty member that I met previously at a POGIL workshop. It's been such a fun ride and only possible through the continued support and guidance of the POGIL project and all it represents. Which leads me to my final acknowledgement. I was glad I was able to sit in on some of the symposiums in honor of Rick's Pimentel Chemical Education Award at the spring ACS meeting in San Diego. I truly resonated with one comment made referring to all the professional development opportunities that many of us have benefited from the catalyst that Rick has done and all that we have seen just a few minutes ago in terms of his 20 years of direction and guidance of the project. There are so many aspects of my CV and professional portfolio that would be a white space without Rick. So I'm glad for this opportunity to articulate my sincerest gratitude for all the benefits I've experienced in my career so far, being associated with all things POGIL. Some of you know that the past couple of years have been pretty tough on me, so it's really special to have all my best friends here in the room with me, so I can say an extra huge thanks for everything.